Hi, Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast, and this is part one of my Week 14 preview. Thanksgiving week is behind us, and Week 14 sees the final four teams take the bye. So the Patriots, 49ers, and Panthers will anxiously see how their rivals fare in Week 14, whilst the Giants will just watch. As we reach the top of the home stretch regular season wise, I'm going to preview each week's games in order of their importance and relevance to the postseason picture. Well, in this, I'm just going to cover one game, Thursday Night Football, which just happens to be one of the most important games of the week anyway. Now, I know that may mean you only watch the first part of this and subsequent previews, unless you have a morbid curiosity as to who plays in what I call the Who Cares Bowl each week, but that is a price I'm willing to pay. So here we go then. Um, and let's have a look at Thursday Night Football, which is the first of some huge swing games for teams involved in them this week. And it's the Dallas Cowboys at the Detroit Lions. First in importance and first in order of play is probably how this game is. This game will have huge ramifications for the loser in particular. If the Lions lose, they drop below the Cowboys in the standings and potentially see the gap between um, themselves and the seventh spot in the NFC grow to two games with just 4 weeks left to make up that ground. For the Cowboys, a loss would see the Lions open up a gap on them and could also leave too big a gap to make up to the likes of the 49ers, Packers and or Bears. The Cowboys come into this one on a crest of wave. The Lions are paddling furiously to stay alive. Now, having said that, I'm hearing all this hype about the Cowboys and they're the team that everybody's got to beat or whatever. Well, they're only the team they've got to beat if they get to the postseason. And that's still a small chance. But in order to enhance that chance, they have to win this game. So let's get on with it. Now, the Lions' fifth-ranked offense has got 12 of its 26 touchdowns this season from Amon-Ra St. Brown with 9 and Sam Laporta with 3. So whilst Laporta has been a big miss recently, losing St. Brown for this game would be a crushing blow to deal with. And even this late as we approach the game, there's no real clue as to whether he's going to play or not. My instinct would say he might try and play, but how healthy he is, we'll wait and see. And their fourth ranked rush offense may also have it on their hands behind an O line that has both tackles Penei Sewell and Tyler Taylor Decker, plus centre Graham Glasgow and guard Coyote Awasika battling injury ahead of this game. Now, again, trying to read the runes and the vibes, it sounds like Sewell, Decker, and Glasgow might play, but Awasika will miss. So, really, how many of those are healthy and how many are actually playing when they shouldn't be could be crucial in the run game and in pass protection for Jared Goff. So, if St. Brown is out, Goff might well need extra time to find open receivers, which could be a real issue for them. For the season as a whole, no team has allowed more yardage and touchdowns to opposing receivers than Dallas. Yardage wise, that's still been the case to some extent in recent games, where they have allowed an average of 243 receiving yards a game in their last three games and 6 touchdowns in those games. But they have conceded that yardage number or more in just 2 of their last 8 games. So there's a clear improvement in the Dallas defense. So Goff may struggle to pass for 250 yards here, and if St. Brown is out, they're going to struggle to get passing touchdowns too. The Cowboys' run defense ranks 21st, but is 15th against opposing running backs. Quarterbacks have hurt them on the ground in the shape of Jalen Hurts, who's scored 4 touchdowns in the 2 games between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Daniels and Jacoby Brissett have also rushed for touchdowns against the Cowboys. But Jared Goff has had just 13 rushing attempts this season and hasn't scored a rushing touchdown since week 5 of 2023. So the 15th ranking is more relevant here against running backs, depending on how healthy the Lions O line is for this game. And since they added Quinn Williams to the interior of their D line, the Cowboys have given up an average of just 70 yards a game on the ground and no rushing touchdowns to running backs since his arrival, which all points to the Lions struggling to score touchdowns in this game if St. Brown is out. And even if he plays, asking him to carry the load when hurt is a big ask. And Jamar Gibbs is the other one they tend to lean on in these games. But as I've said, it's going to be tough for him as well by the look of it. So this renewed Cowboys defense is going to be tough for the Lions to score on. But can the Lions restrict the Cowboys offense that ranks second in the league for passing and 13th for the run? Well, the Lions rank as the fourth best team for opposing quarterbacks to face this season, second for wide receivers to face behind the Cowboys. So probably they're the best team to face right now since the Cowboys improved D of recent weeks. So the answer via the pass looks like a clear no, as Dak Prescott, George Pickens, and CD Lamb, look to flourish here. Jake Ferguson could also join the party in the end zone with Kirby Joseph out and Brian Branch questionable, although he's another who sounds like he's going to play at safety for the Lions. The Lions have been very good against the run and fairly decent against tight ends too, so Javonte Williams may not be in for a good game here. If the Lions are going to struggle to score offensive TDs and are likely to struggle against the Cowboys receivers, are there any rays of hope for them in this game? Well, they do rank 12th in the league for picking off quarterbacks. Um, and that, so uh, uh, so, and Dak has thrown 8 picks this year. Sorry, let's start that again. Well, they do rank 12th in the league for picking off opposing quarterbacks, and Dak has thrown 8 picks this year. So, if they can get one or two in this game, that could give them a shout. The Lions also possess an excellent pass rush, so if they can rush Prescott into errors, then the secondary is well capable of picking up on such errors. But the Lions have to have a somewhat near full health St. Brown, a healthy O line, a dominant pass rush, and get picks to win this game. That's a big wish list. Kirby Joseph is the one that leads them in picks as well, and he's out. So it's a big wish list, and the likelihood is the Cowboys just have too much for a Lions team that is missing key components right now and maybe carrying players injured in this game. So I see a win for the Cowboys with some room to spare here, which will keep the hype machine rolling, despite coming at pretty much a perfect moment to face the Lions. So I'm taking the Cowboys to win this game by 30 points to 21 and increase their chances of making the postseason. But let's not get carried away, Cowboys fans. You can't win anything until you're in the contest. And for them to make the postseason is still going to require some help from other teams. But this could put pressure on those teams if they get the win here. And also, it will put the Lions in a bad situation. But like I say, I take the Cowboys to win this by 30 to 21. I'll come back with part two of my preview on Sunday. So I'll see you with that. So in between Friday and Saturday, I'm going to put out some more draft prep pieces. Now, I consider myself one of the leading authorities on the draft in terms of predicting what's going to happen. So I'll give you my December updates on quarterbacks and running backs in the next couple of days. So look out for that. But I'll be back on Sunday with further previews of the Sunday games this week. See you soon.